Humans are social creatures. Socialization is a part of Maslow's pyramid of needs, fitting right up there in the middle in love and belonging. Notice the terms intimacy and connecting. Now, these things may not be as essential to life as food and water, but the lack of social contact and even touch has profound effects on human health and psychology. This is why in prisons isolation is used as an enhanced punishment. Those put into the isolation ward, usually for periods of no more than a month, come out of their punitive experience with symptoms not unlike post-traumatic stress disorder. We've been told that our highly interconnected world, thanks largely in part to the internet, has enhanced our social lives. Over the years, social media and social networks have become an almost integral part of the human experience, even for businesses. If you say to a millennial that you have no social media accounts, you're viewed with distrust and suspicion. Some people spend hours a day on social media, seated in front of a computer screen or a mobile device, a lot of the time completely physically isolated from other human beings. Social media addiction is a clinically verified condition, with even the architects of such platforms admitting they were creating systems of addiction and dependence. Such platforms have seen the rise of narcissism, with social media stars getting millions of views, likes and comments for such menial activities as eating dinner and sitting by the pool, usually alone. The irony of social media is that it has socially isolated many of the people that use it, because sitting in front of your phone and/or computer screen is not an inherently social activity to begin with. We've all seen the couple at the dinner table in a restaurant, sitting across from one another with their heads buried in their phones, socially isolating while socializing. The epidemic has gotten so bad that phone companies have now installed screen time apps on their phones so that you can keep track of how much time you're spending on the device, which by its very nature cuts you off physically from real social contact with other human beings. Then came COVID-19 and the now all too familiar term of social distancing. Governments and businesses encouraged and then demanded that we socially isolate from one another. Keep 1.5 metres or 6 feet apart and not engage in otherwise normal activities like going to the pub or a restaurant or even the beach. We are instead encouraged to spend time in front of our computers or on mobile devices to socialise, thus mitigating the threat of infection from COVID-19 while exponentially increasing the threat of social isolation, depression, anxiety, and narcissism. FaceTime, Facebook, and Instagram cannot give you the cure from these disorders. They only exacerbate them. Human touch, time with loved ones, and family are real medicines, and the system is trying to make you forget that. It's trying to make you believe that human beings are nothing more than contagion factors and threats to your personal safety. You've been drawn into selfishness through your iPhone, lured into believing that you must keep your distance and give up an essential component of the human experience because of a virus that at best is as deadly as the flu. To me, this is an anti-human agenda that uses the worst impulses of the human condition, like selfishness, to fulfill its goals. There have been rumblings in the technology world for years about the coming merging with machine, human implants that will connect us to the internet, virtual landscapes that will be shared via Wi-Fi in your brain. Forgetting for a moment the myriad of health issues such as EMF radiation this will cause to the human body, I think it's safe to say that this technology won't offer anywhere near the same level of intimacy and human connection that touch and real socialization does. They will, however, no doubt be touted as better than those things, and I wonder whether this social conditioning we are currently under the spell of is a part of selling us this notion. The irony is that people who don't want to engage in the fear and choose instead to persist with age-old human practices such as handshaking, hugging and kissing are shunned and called selfish and careless. Think of this for a moment. Acts of kindness and love are now being claimed to be selfish and dangerous. The consequences of lockdowns and social distancing drive a nail into the very heart of the human condition, and they are not good medicines. The bifurcation of our societies will continue to get worse. The ability for small groups to control and dominate the paradigm of the masses will broaden, while the actual human experience and our mental and physical health will continue to decline. The cure is worse than the disease. What can you do? Get out there and talk to people. Create real human networks instead of virtual ones. It's a lot easier to follow someone online and like their tweet than it is to meet a new person in the real world, but the rewards for real human interaction are far greater. It may seem difficult to do in the midst of a so-called pandemic, but that's what the system wants you to believe. I see the fear and suspicion everywhere I go now. Oh no, he might have COVID. I better not get too close. We are being socially divided right now into left and right, black and white, believers and non-believers, and those labels are much easier to maintain in the virtual world. In the real world, we all bleed the same blood and strive for the same things: happiness, peace, and prosperity. We need to come together again and not let our base instincts of fear and self-preservation destroy the spirit of community and togetherness. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And of course, if you'd like to add your 2 cents, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Now, get out there in the real world, get some sunshine, and breathe some beautiful fresh air.